And we're live.
Yep.
So, I don't know if anyone's showing up right off.
Oh, I did that.
I did put the word out. I want to draw, but I want to take a couple of minutes, because I don't know. I want to have people put some input in on what they'd like to see. This would have been one of those great opportunities to go, hey, this versus AI.
Oh, well, you didn't tell me.
Well, I'm just saying, like it's the opportunity that somebody can pop in and make a suggestion. I've got pretty much the night to myself, so
Oh, yeah?
it's just me and Eli here. The wife bolted.
Oh, yeah? She's not going out for a pack of cigarettes, is she?
Well, maybe
I hope not. Hope
she's
that's
supposed
just a
to.
joke.
She's supposed to have quit.
Oh,
She's supposed to be spending the night with family, and well, the girls of her family, so it's a woman thing. I don't know.
okay.
It's a sleepover, but it's not the kind of sleepover all the guys go like, "Hey, I want to see
Yeah.
that."
My one of my students was complaining yesterday about somebody was giving her grief for playing the guitar because it's a guitar or something. It's some
Um,
stupid joke. And she was getting upset about, you know, girls can play guitars, and I'm like, absolutely. It's not like driving a car. It just
and that probably didn't go over well.
oh, she just looked at me, and I'm just like, I'm just joking. I'm just joking.
I
But
saw a bass player that's a woman was talking about she's in a band with her sisters and she thinks it's sexist because they call it a girl band. Well, they don't call guy bands guy bands. Like, first of all, you just did.
yeah, there you
Second,
go.
second of all, they were guy bands before they were girl bands. They're, as far as bands go,
Yeah,
because that was the sellability of it. But I think it's kind of stupid. If it's a band, it's a band. Like
yeah.
you probably won't catch me singing along with women singers because generally I'm not trying to hit those notes, and
Oh, I'm
a
such a
lot of times
Swifty.
I'm lyrically not in line with what they're singing.
No, probably not.
But that doesn't stop me from listening to them and appreciating them. I don't, and it's actually the same thing with. There's a lot of guy singers I wouldn't be trying to sing along with, and their lyrics don't line up with what my thinking is and all that. So
Well, that's like in I think it's the Ghostwriter book that Neil Peart wrote. In it, he talks about at some point he writes about he kind of really liked 98 Degrees. It's like I'm not supposed to, like, it's a boy band. It shouldn't be something I'm listening to, but it's like they've got some real talent. It just was like, oh, okay, that's a little weird.
I'm not into any boy bands. I really never would be into any boy bands. But at one time, my daughter was into One Direction,
Yeah.
and she was really into One Direction. And some fan of Suicide Silence tried to say some crap about what a piece of crap she was because she was listening to somebody that talk shit about the lead singer of Suicide Silence when he was dying of whatever he was dying of. And I'm like, you know what? I don't give a shit who you are. You have a right to listen to whatever the hell you want to. The same thing, my daughter. The same thing with my daughter. Anyone has the right to listen to whatever they want, no matter whether somebody else likes it or not. And I'm an old school headbanger, but that means that I will fight for your right to listen to music that I don't like.
Yeah.
Because that's the whole point, right? Like
I think
we're allowed to like whatever the hell we want to like. That's the mentality I have with pretty much everything, you know. You can
yeah,
like
but
whatever you want to like. There are things that I'm not gonna like. I don't want in my face, but if you want them in your face and you like it, go ahead.
yeah. Anyway,
Right?
yeah,
I'm not getting specific here. I'm just saying, you know, as an overall.
yeah. No, I mean, the stuff with I always find it funny when students want to make fun of other students for what they listen to, and I'm like, man, listen to whatever makes you happy.
That's
Like,
right.
why? You know. Now, I don't want to necessarily, but earbuds are an amazing thing. So,
Right, you know, and it's
and I have,
that.
well, I mean, I just like I have a Spotify account, and there are certain things, like there are certain channels I'm not playing in my car when anyone else is with me because I'm not gonna do it. Like no one in my family wants to listen to any of that music, which is fine by me. I'm like, all right, that's my time music. That's fine by me. Or a lot of times, you know, I'm upstairs writing and I could just listen to music, but I normally put my earbuds in because I'm like, nobody else has to hear what I'm listening to. So,
And you know, like when I was young, like I said, old school headbanger. So I'd be listening to like Overkill and Metallica and Megadeth, and back in the days when nobody really liked them except for headbangers.
yeah.
And I would, you know, these are the days of Sony Walkmans, right?
Yeah.
So we'd walk around with headphone sets on, but we'd also walk around with a boombox blasting that shit. You don't like it? Fuck off, right? But as I got older, I've gotten to a point where it feels like everything that I hear that's put out now,
Yeah.
I've heard. It's like different combinations of what I've heard. So now you're taking the old school metal and putting it with old school glam rock
Yeah.
and mashing it into something, and you're calling it screamo, or you know,
Yeah.
it's the same thing. It's the same message and the same music. They're just two different music and messages. But we got one viewer. You got any suggestions about what I should draw? Because this is what we're doing today. We're trying to get somebody to pick something for me to draw. Actually, I was hoping there would be a popular vote, but there has to be more than one person voting for it to be popular. But yeah, like, and then as I've gotten older, because I've heard so much music, I went from listening to metal, listening to rock or whatever, to listening to classical and movie soundtracks and stuff like that just give you a feel, and they're shorter theme music. So like I'll put on some theme music. That's why we have theme music here.
Yeah.
Speaking of, put on some theme music. And now I'm listening to audiobooks and stuff like that because I've really listened to so much stuff that it really, I'm having a hard time finding something that doesn't sound like something I already heard.
Yeah. Part of that's kind of the problems with like writing when you're like, oh, that you get some idea. All right, this is new. But then you think about it, and it's like, well, it's actually kind of like this and this combined, or it's like this without this. Like there's a Netflix show that's basically Highlander, but without the cool quickening part.
Right.
What's her face? Charlize Theron is the showrunner, I think.
Did you see the trailer for the new Furiosa?
Yeah.
What'd you think?
It could be
I
good.
think I am going to start drawing because it's like been 10 minutes and nobody's made any suggestions, so I'll probably noodle around with Venom or something like that. Go ahead. I just broached the subject, but I'm just informing people I'm switching my camera to draw.
No, I mean, I forget what I was saying.
Furiosa.
What?
Furiosa.
Oh yeah, I mean, I saw it. I've liked all of the Mad Max films. The last one I thought was just visually just amazing. I don't know if the story was all that great, really, but that's not exactly what those movies are for. And
I didn't really, the Fury Road, I had a problem with the story because the story was to just run away until you couldn't run away anymore and then to run back to where you ran away from.
sort of.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's what they did, so that's kind of what made it hard for me to...
But, and again, I'm not going to necessarily defend the story too much.
Right.
Because it's not. I watch those really.
Anyway, you can like what you want to like.
Oh, I know. But I'm saying, I mean, I like seeing. Like, they put a lot of care and thought into world building. I think they're really great movies for world building. Like, you can hear, you know, like the stuff that becomes important to people and the way it changes the language. Like, they put all that stuff into the scripts. And I think it's kind of neat. Like, I always kind of enjoyed watching, you know, how they think civilization would progress and what would happen and how, you know, I find all of that fascinating. And then, you know, they throw in a whole bunch of explosions and stuff and cool cars. So then there's the mindless entertainment.
That actual world is created by someone that's not around anymore. It wasn't George Miller or George Miller, right?
Yeah, I think so. Is that right? I guess I could look it up.
It wasn't his creation. It was somebody else's that worked with him on it.
Ugh. Yeah. George Miller. Ugh. Ugh.
Bless you.
Thanks. Gosh, dog, did you hear that I was streaming? We had a swim meet today in Noblesville as all day. So, like, I wasn't exactly sure when I was going to get home. And while we were gone, she got into the trash. She was a bad girl.
Oh, no.
Of course, Rhonda gets way more upset about that kind of thing than I do. Like, I don't like it, and it's annoying, but I'm like, well, you guys always say she's one of the dumbest, you know, creatures on the planet, and yet you think she's going to remember what she did 5 hours ago?
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like, she can't be incredibly dumb and incredibly smart at the same time. Of course, if it was the cats, they're just evil, so I don't really care. So.
Right, because they're cats.
Yeah. Which is funny because, you know, I'm more than happy when the cats come up and snuggle. You know, But at the same time, I'm like, yeah, you're just not. I don't know. You're not as comforting as the dog is. Like, the cat's more like playing with some kind of weird trap. Like it feels good, but you know eventually you're going to set it off.
Right.
The dog is more like, just, aren't you a good girl? And that's all it is. So. Hold on. I was being warned there may be loud noises.
There may be.
Yeah. I guess he's moving some boxes around for Christmas decorations. You might want to shrink my screen. Just because right now I can't. Okay, yeah, now I can see it.
And so you probably couldn't see it anyway, though.
Well, it ain't much, but it like is that the knee you're working on, or just below it?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. See, I can kind of see it. It's light. It's pencil. I understand what you're doing, but I figure being a bigger screen might be better. think I'd take care of my dog. Ugh. I'll be right back. Dog, if you want me to let you out, I have to hit pause or mute. As soon as I reach for the stupid mouse, she nudged me. Anyway, I'll be back in a minute.
All right. Hey, how are you doing? Is that Dawn? So welcome in. I am an experienced tattoo artist and illustrator, writer. Renaissance man, I guess you could say. You go by Don for short.
Did Evac Don? Did you say hello to him?
I did, but I haven't.
Well, because he says, "Hey, how you doing?"
Yeah, I haven't seen anything else from him. I asked him if he wanted to go by Don or. But I didn't get an answer, so. I'd love for people to engage. I talked to somebody that followed the YouTube version, and I told him that's great. I'd love for someone to engage, and he's like, "Yeah, I will." I don't know if he's working or. was listening to one of the oftentimes Marvel illustrators earlier.
Hey, Ephraim says hello.
Hey, Ephraim. And he was saying that when you're doing Venom, he's top heavy. So he's got to have short, stout legs. I think Mr. Eli's had it for the night.
What?
I said, I think Mr. Eli's had it for the night.
Oh, yeah.
It's so weird. He's got this self-imposed bedtime.
Well, you know, sometimes routine is just nice. I mean,
Oh, I'm sure that is exactly what it is, because he's the one that keeps the schedules and
Yeah.
Everything has to be done on the schedule he's accustomed to.
Evec Don says, would it be all right if I send you a friend request on Discord? I just want to share more ideas for your stream.
Yeah, sure. You can even share them here if you want. Yeah. Send me a friend request on any of my social media. We love ideas. We love discussion, so
Evic Don says, cool, would you mind typing it?
typing. I'm not sure what you're asking. Would I mind typing what? Uh, which Discord? Mind typing it. Would you mind typing what? Who I am on Discord? Because it's same thing. It's Richware1. I'm in David Finch fan server and Anthony Wheeler's. Even Jim Lee. If you're watching, yeah, you're watching on Twitch, then there should be links to my Instagram and should be links to my Instagram and Facebook and X. Any one of them, you're welcome to friend me or message me on. I think X is the hardest one to message me on, but that's because X is really weird when it comes to that. Sometimes they'll let you message somebody, and sometimes they will be really particular about it. I would say I'm pretty approachable as far as any of that stuff goes. 'Cause I'm a mod on the David Finch fan server, so pretty much have to be approachable in that way. Unless you're going to be lewd. You can be lewd, but you may not like my answers. As I tell my boy, turnabout's fair play. Brother, you okay? You sound a little out of breath.
Oh, I'm fine. I'm just clogged up. Ugh.
Turn this leg back behind that one. Or the bottom of the leg back behind the top. Well, I don't think you'd see very much of it.
Evic Don said, "This is my Discord ID, evocreates.d. So can I showcase my ideas on your stream? Thank you for your interest."
Yeah, you can put a link up if you want.
Thank you for your kind response. Enjoy streaming. I'll just watch your stream though.
All right, well. Well, thanks for watching. Definitely.
Yeah.
You're welcome in. And like I said, if you want to share a link, share a link. You don't want to have any bans against links or any of that. You're welcome them.
Rich, what was that website that you signed up for that you did? You basically do reviews for books?
Oh, you mean to get free books to review those books?
Yeah.
NetGalley.
So, is there any way to, like, if you and I wanted to review something on here, so we would both have to be able to read it, like, do you get that much I mean, how much control over that kind of stuff do you get?
I can select what I want to read. But they have to accept me as a reader or a critiquer.
Okay.
Reviewer, whatever. Got the answer you're looking for?
Well, I don't know. I just
Like I can't go up and say, I want to read the new Orson Scott Card book or something like that. If the new Orson Scott Card book is out there and available on that, they will list it and it'll be under science fiction. And you can request it. And then it's a matter of whether or not they accept the request. I've been denied twice, but I've far more often, I'm either just granted or ignored, so, you know. You can withdraw a request if you're sick of waiting for it, or if it's coming close to time that the book's going to be out and taken off the shelf. You can, like, if you're trying to get some books to read so that we can do that,
yeah,
you can tell them at the site we do reviews on a Twitch or on YouTube, and they'll probably accept you, and that's really the way it works. Is whether NetGalley don't decide what you get, NetGalley puts it out there what's available. Who decides what you get is the like Tor or whatever the book company is that has put it up there. They decide if they're interested in your feedback, and like I'm sure I burned a couple of bridges because there are certain things I'm not interested in reading, and I found out halfway through a book or something that it was in one of those categories that I would never have read if I'd have known it was one of those categories.
Mm.
They have a small synopsis to give you an idea of what the story's about,
Yeah.
but they don't have, like, you can't read the first couple of pages to see if it's absolutely atrocious prose. You just got to kind of figure it out based on you either getting the book or not. And I have suffered through some bad writing because I made a commitment, you know. And at this point, I think I'm done doing that. Just, you know, finishing some horrible shit just because I feel like I could finish it, or I would read it. And I am to a point where life's too short to finish every fucked up thing that you get. Which is really weird because I used to be of the I'll give everything 50 pages, and chances are if I can read 50 pages I can just finish it. And I used to push on through, but I've come to realize that a lot of times pushing on through just makes you push on through a bunch of miserable stuff.
See, my general rule has always been 100 pages. I figure if nothing.
50 pages. If I can't get into it in 50 pages, not saying that it has to be the greatest work, or it has to, you know, I can't put it down within 50 pages. But if I'm still not interested within 50 pages, I'm not going to be interested in 100. So,
Well,
in my experience, anyway.
Yeah, I mean,
I do that.
it had been an arbitrary number that I had set for myself, and I was like, normally if I can, you know, I figure 100 pages is a good enough stretch where if I'm not interested by then, I'm not gonna be. So like the girl with the dragon tattoo, nothing happens for the first 99 pages. I swear. I was so bored. And something kind of cool happened on the 99th page. And I thought, never mind, I don't care. It just, I was like, it's too little too late. Like, it's not cool enough for me to say, all right, I'll give it a try now.
I almost did. I liked the translated movie.
Yeah.
I liked the translated movie way better than I liked the Daniel Craig version.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, because I binge watched all three of them. And I did. And I just never got around to reading it. And I watched the Daniel Craig version, and I was like, yeah, that really isn't.
I mind the movie. To me, the movie, well, it could get through it a lot faster. Like, it could get to the actual meat of things faster. At least I thought it did.
You could get into it at least, right? The actual meat of things.
Yeah, it's faster. And
of course.
Well, sometimes that's good. I mean, it was not a fast-paced book, and I was like, this is just a whole bunch of crap I don't care about. So,
well, I know that Stieg Larsson, or however you pronounce it,
yeah,
wrote it because one of his girlfriends or something like that got raped, and he didn't do anything about it. Like when he was younger, and he felt guilty about not doing anything about it, so he wrote that. That's his way of dealing with it.
Okay.
I don't know why it is, but sometimes knowing the motivations behind the story helps me get into the story better. It's like, I know a lot of people, like, one of my favorite David Gemmell works is Ravenheart. And I see people that are like, how do you like that as your favorite? And I'm like, it really is. It really is one of my favorite works. But I also know why he wrote it. He wrote it because he had a stepdad. Like, he was raised in the aftermath of World War II.
Uh-huh.
And there were a lot of bullies running around picking on kids that didn't have fathers after World War II, you know?
Right.
And his mom started dating this guy named Bill, and a whole bunch of bullies were picking on him. And one day, they were picking on him, and Bill stepped in, and Bill was a big dude. And he never forgot that his stepdad stepped in because it was an injustice that he stepped in for, right?
Okay.
But he said he had a fever, and he kept having these recurring nightmares of vampires. And he woke up one night, and his stepdad was at the foot of his bed, and he's like, I keep having these dreams of vampires. And his stepdad's like, yeah, they won't bother you anymore. And he's like, why? And he's like, because I kicked their fucking ass. So, you know, it's like, it was really cool. He modeled one of the main characters after his stepdad, and you can really see it. And the character is kind of like a Braveheart type character, and it's kind of like that situation. It's his Riganti series, Riganti series. Riganti. The real one is one, and the fictional one is the other. So it's either Riganti that's real or Briganti that's real. I'm thinking it's Briganti that's real. But yeah, it's basically the same thing. English occupation of Scotland, and it's this kid in the Highlands being taught to be obedient, and this William Wallace type hero that pretty much sacrifices himself for this village or whatever, and it's just such a cool way, and you kind of know it's going to happen, and you don't want it to happen the whole time. So it's a lot of, it's heroic fantasy and then coming of age story mixed in with heroic fantasy. And I don't know if you've read much David Gemmell, but he, as Orson Scott Card said, wrote about good people doing good things. If you look up Druss's Code,
yeah,
that's basically what his characters kind of live by. All of his pretty much good characters. Not just for the Journey series, but it was pretty much started in the Journey series. It's very much like the more modern Conan-esque type stories, sword and sorcery type stories, just called heroic fantasy. There's actually a David Gemmell Award, Fantasy Award too.
Hey, Miles Craig says hi.
Hey,
And what's good?
well, we were just talking about a David Gemmell book. That's good. I've got the silhouette and basic outline done of Venom. That's good, I think.
He says I can like the video. That would be appreciated.
Yeah, you're probably the only one.
He says great drawings. All good. Whew.
Brett showing his excitement again.
It's my old age. Make me sit still too long. And I was like, yeah. Really, that's all I've done today. Sat at that. I had to drive down to Noblesville. I had to sit and watch on those wonderful bleachers.
Yeah, I hate bleachers.
Yeah. Then had to, drive home and then.
You'd think they'd pad them. They have folded padded seats for events like that. Why wouldn't you do that with bleachers?
I don't know.
You don't want
Miles
to fall
says
in
he's a
asleep?
young artist himself.
Very good.
I don't know which is a young artist, but he's an artist.
Not so much on the young side.
Yeah.
But hey,
Oh, and Miles is a girl. I'm sorry, Miles.
that could get confusing. Well, we're not gender specific.
Miles is 12. So
Oh,
watch your language, Rich.
no,
Oh.
wait, there's a warning. I guess there's not a warning on YouTube, is there? I guess we have to be a little bit more careful.
No, that's my brother's account.
What?
I'm guessing that. Let me see if I got this straight. Miles Craig is your brother's account?
Yeah. Okay. So what's your name then?
Is it Zara or Zara? So Zara. Okay. Had to think about that. So, wait, which one did I say first?
No matter which one you said first, as long as we know what it is, right?
Yep. Are we Aussies? No. Absolutely not. I am a Hoosier by birth. I don't know what Rich is, and he's a Mainer now.
Citizen of the United States.
Okay.
Well, I mean,
Well, that's cool that you're an Aussie. International audience. Yes. That's fantastic.
So, I'm from one state, but I moved around, so it's pretty much everything on the Midwest and east side of the United States.
Yeah, only a special privileged few get to be Hoosiers.
Yeah, I was there for a while too. Moved out of there because, I didn't need to be that special.
Well, I gotta get. Me and Dad are going to the dump. But I can leave my computer on, so I'm viewing. Awesome, thank you. I've done that before. I mean, not to the dump, although I've been to the dump before, more than once.
Yeah, you said you were a Hoosier.
Yeah, so I visited Ohio every once in a while. I'll be back in 10. All right, cool. Bye. Well, that's kind of interesting that, I mean, I realize it's her brother's account, so I don't really know. Oh, and I'll sub. Okay, cool.
What's that?
She said, oh, and I'll sub.
Oh, that's cool.
So, just it's cool that somehow, here,
Bye.
someone in Australia is finding you. I mean, that's pretty fun. Oh.
Oh boy.
Yeah, so the school where the swim meet was it's so much newer than mine. And their pool area is so much nicer, and they have money for their team and all this stuff. Like, it was, you can just see the huge disparity between school focuses, I guess. But they still did not have folding seats in their bleachers. How long are you going to be streaming, Rich?
I don't know yet. Usually we're done by 11:30, 12, 11. It depends. Could be 3 hours, could be 3.5 hours sometimes. We did 2 hours last stream. Right?
Yeah, the time before that was 4.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like, as long as people keep us talking, I guess.
Okay, thanks, bye.
Okay.
What? Technically, no. Yeah.
Be back soon. All right, cool.
Is that your kid saying technically no?
Huh?
I said, was that your kid just saying technically no?
Might have been. If you heard that. I don't know. I didn't hear it.
Oh yeah, I did hear it, and I thought it was an echo, and I was like, no, you didn't say that this time, did you? Like, use this old. This has been coming handy for a drip page and everything else. This watercolor paper. Put a little bit more of a point on this. I snapped it when I dropped it last stream, but I don't want to sharpen it. I just want something more than square or cylindrically square. It's not too bad, huh?
It's a little pale, but yeah, it's pretty good.
It's supposed to be like this.
Maybe it's anti-venom.
No. Anti-venom does not look like venom.
I actually didn't know what anti-venom looked like. I just know he's a character. It's one of those things, I don't know, I just... On one hand, like they had their whole Spider-Verse type thing
Had
where it was like a bunch of people with various Spider-Man like skills, right?
it's not over. They're still doing it.
Right, but I'm just saying, I'm like, that kind of makes sense as a universe, but it didn't really seem to make sense. I don't know. It kind of seemed like they're running out of ideas. They're just milking the same thing over and over, or just
Yeah,
variations on the same thing. And
I've heard that a few different times. Actually, Eric July was making comments about that early on. That there's nothing original about Miles Morales except for his color. The story's pretty much the same thing. I mean, it's his mother instead of Aunt May or whatever, but it's basically the same thing. And the Prowler they changed to fit that. That's not what the Prowler was before.
yeah, no,
Now, see, I'm kind of weird on that, I guess, because Into the Spider-Verse, I had fun watching it. My wife liked it. My kid liked it. So, you know.
well, I like the movies. And it makes sense.
I don't read the comic books because the stuff that's in the comic books nowadays isn't really Spider-Man stories. It's other types of stories masked as Spider-Man. See what I did there?
Okay, but
See what they did there?
yeah, I think it's an interesting concept. Like, you know, you have lots of people with Spider-Man abilities, and those are the only types of.
It's
Well,
just because she's from an alternate dimension, but
Right, but
there already was a Spider-Woman. That's like Supergirl. There was already a Supergirl. There was
Yeah.
already a Mrs. Marvel. They didn't need, or Miss Marvel. They didn't need to take over Captain Marvel with Miss Marvel because there was already a Miss Marvel. But they did it anyway, and they did it a while ago, so it wasn't just done for the movie as a lot of people think.
well,
When I was a kid reading Captain Marvel was a blonde dude
yeah,
with a red and space colored costume, like you could see black and white with stars, and
yeah.
his hair hung out the top. I never get that. You know, that's one thing. Somebody started a discussion on the other day. They were talking about your superheroes don't wear masks to conceal their identity for them. They wear masks to conceal their identities for their loved ones.
Yeah.
Well, then why do you basically show everything except for a strip of your face? Why do you show hair, your fingernails? Like if that superheroes never get zits, right? Or they never have pox scars, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I guess what my point is with it is that I think as far as superheroes go, there's an inherent problem in almost all of them that aren't completely covered up.
Okay.
If you're showing your hair color and your lips and your nose, those are actual markers. And nowadays, like it's not even realistic for you to do that and still stay hidden, because there's technology that can identify you by several markers on your face, like your cheekbones and the distance between your nostrils, and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if you're showing them, Like I've never really understood that. If I want to be a superhero and I want to be totally unknown, I don't want them to know what color my skin is. They can guess that I'm white. You know what I mean? Or
Yeah.
or you know, if I have a voice changer or some shit like that. But that's that. I never could understand how. Why you'd wear a Robin mask? You know what I mean?
Oh, a domino mask? Aren't those domino masks?
Well, Robin's mask wasn't originally that way. It's basically a Lone Ranger mask, but basically everything about your face and head is shown except for your eyebrows
Yeah.
and the depth of your eye sockets. But you can see their eye color. You can see the shape of their nose, their mouth, whether they shave, whether they cut themselves shaving, you know, what
Right.
kind of neck structure they have, what color they are, what color their hair is. A police sketch artist should probably be able to make an identifying version just from the information you're able to give them. So it's never been completely right for me. It's like I've said, like if you're Spider-Man, that's acceptable until you start pulling up part of your mask so that you can munch on Hostess or Little Debbie's or whatever. Because people really can't see anything. You're pretty much covering up everything.
Yeah.
So it's almost just unbelievable. Now here I go with logic in comics, right?
Yeah, you're talking about the genre that gave us a pair of glasses as your main disguise. So,
Well, Superman's main disguise. It's not just a pair of glasses. There's a curl.
oh, well, that's hard to notice. I mean, let's
and
face it. I'm always
and-
confused.
And what's funny about that is that if you've noticed, except for, like we were just talking about the other day, except for Black Lightning, no, Black Adam, they've removed the Superman curl. I don't know if you noticed it, but the Superman curl has been gone. Matter of fact, they were telling certain comic artists that they couldn't draw the Superman curl because the Superman curl is part of what now the names are not coming to me. Shoemaker, the guys that originally did Superman, Schuster.
Okay.
You don't know this?
Off the top of my head, no, but
Yeah,
Schuster
right.
sounds right.
Let's see. Siegel and Schuster.
Okay. Sounds right?
No, because I just looked it up. It is
Reason
right.
why
I
it
know
sounds right.
because I just looked it up. So that's part of their description of Superman. So if they don't use the Superman curl and they change the Superman uniform, which is what they did, the new 52 and all that, they don't have to pay the Schuster and Siegel estate for using Superman. How screwed up is that, huh?
How screwed up is my camera? You should see it.
Yeah, what is that, your finger?
Nope.
It's not?
That is Murphy.
Oh, okay, yep. So it is your finger. Your finger wrapped around the hamster?
It's my
or something?
son's finger, actually. My hands are right here.
Okay. Your son's finger.
Yep.
Your son shouldn't finger other people's cameras.
Okay. Hey, bring me a pop.
He loves that hamster. I don't know why.
And he saw a fly.
He found out he could, and the hamster enjoys this for anyone who wants to complain. I promise you, the hamster keeps coming back for more. But he took a
Oh, yeah.
roll of
I've heard that excuse before.
so he took the cardboard tube from the center of paper towels, and Murphy crawls in, and he's fat enough he kind of seals it, and then you can basically shoot him out like a blow dart. And like Thaddeus was just shooting him onto the bed, and then Murphy would run right back and get into the tube, and they'd do it again and again and again. That hamster loved it. Just I'm flew as he flies through the air. It was great.
Yeah, they used to have bars that did that, but only it wasn't hamsters.
Okay.
Hey, I didn't do that. I was much too late. Was much too late for that popularity circuit. Whatever.
Well,
this spider only gets 3 legs.
That's one of those things that I always like. You had the Venom movies, and he doesn't have the spider on his chest, and it's just like, really? Like,
Doesn't.
I don't think so.
Not
like the real. I mean, because there's no connection to Spider-Man.
Let's see. Like, I've watched the movie, I just never thought about it that way. Yeah, I guess there's veins all over his chest, right?
yeah.
Alright, so. And that's the way I can get away with doing that.
Yeah, it's just veiny stuff.
Yeah, I just looked it up when you said that, because I never really paid attention to it, I guess. Never thought about it at all.
That just... I never liked the the Tom Hardy Venom films all that much. Like they're like, all right, I guess, and
Right.
it just to me ruins. Like I always thought that was a great. Okay, the original creation of the suit and the symbiote is a little weird.
And then separating it from Spider-Man.
Well, I mean, just the original black suit that Spider-Man got. You know, he reached into a machine on Battle World and pulled it out, and oh, I guess this fits, and then he starts using it. Like that's just, it's
Really weird.
yeah, it's just kind of dumb.
I don't know
But-
what the damn thing does, but hey, it fits.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So, I always thought that was kind of dumb, but the creation of Venom. You know, here's a guy that Peter Parker has kind of hurt, and you know, the suit that he's got. I mean, it's like a really good villain story,
Yeah, because they created it to be a villain story.
and
That's a McFarlane creation.
well, I mean, it's
Not that it
just
matters.
it's a good motivation and story development. I mean, that's a good story overall.
Fun lover and somebody that feels like he was cheated out of his wife for him.
Well, I mean, you have the original. Even just okay. So I don't really like the whole random alien spacesuit thing, but just this concept that I have this amazing power, and it starts getting kind of dark, and then you have to get, you know, so it's kind of a metaphor for addiction or performance enhancing stuff.
Yeah.
And you know, it's kind of a neat concept.
Absolutely.
And that by itself is a neat storyline. And then the way it builds on that, it's like, no, this is actually like good development. And you know, it's always interesting to see the reaction of, all right, this happened, therefore this is going to happen, therefore that's going to like that's interesting. It's not just I'm a random bad guy that wants to rule the universe. So it's character. It's really good character. And I mean, the concept of Venom is as just kind of a bigger, darker, meaner Spider-Man is great. You know, it's kind of the, you know, you're lucky Spider-Man isn't this mean type thing. Like you get to see it. So you get to explore some of that while still having the hero.
He went down a dark road. That's why he got rid of Venom.
Yeah.
That's why he had to separate. That and Venom was pulling a Christine, and he wanted to kill Mary Jane, right?
Yeah, it was jealous, I think.
Yeah, like the car Christine.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just saying that's what I was talking about, that car.
That's one of those things, you know, like, you know, you have people complaining about the MCU and all this stuff, and they complain about Ms. Marvel or Captain Marvel,
Right.
and how she's
Because
like
it's the
Mary
same thing.
Sue and she can just do everything and blah 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 blah. I get it, and I agree with all those criticisms.
He's supposed to be. He originally was supposed to be very powerful anyway. So
Yeah, but you know, I don't know. I think they went with a really trite, boring story of, you know, the patriarchy and I have to fight back, and it was dumb. Whereas I think a way more complex and interesting storyline.
I'll take your word for it because I didn't bother watching.
Just all the men in her life told her she should just give up, but she didn't because of girl power.
Right.
Then that morphed into Captain Marvel girl power, and I just don't care.
No.
You're just overpowered and you're a bully with wish fulfillment. Gotcha. Awesome.
Right.
Whereas if you had taken that and, you could have had a little bit of that, but then, she has to grapple with the fact that, she can kill people. And she, I'm sorry, but she's not been raised with that. I mean, guys are, I'm sorry, but most men understand that, yeah, I can kill people. Like, if I get into a fight and lose my head, somebody could die, right? Like men, that's part of what growing up and maturing is about, is learning just about controlling, some of that negative aspects of testosterone, so that you can be an effective human being. So having a superhero become the most powerful being in the universe, you would think that would take some adjustments, and especially if you've always been the weaker sex. Like that should have been something to explore. What happens when you get the real power? Like, because at first you're going to have some fun, you're going to have some wish fulfillment, but then are you going to learn, that you really can't do everything? Like, the things you thought were so great and wonderful aren't so great and wonderful. There's a reason why Superman has to risk his life, if he can, because no one else can do it. And he can't just go around, he could technically go around and beat the crap out of everyone, become ruler of the world, but he doesn't. Why not? Why is Captain Marvel not doing that? That kind of thing. Like, what does she learn? How does she grow? And I don't see it. I don't see character growth.
Okay. I think that's an argument that's been made. So, I mean, I haven't seen it. But to be honest, I didn't want to see it. The actress was all already feminist this, feminist that, and like you said, girl power. And I don't care if there's a woman superhero and it's a very powerful woman, and that doesn't matter to me. But when you start making it an agenda where it's like, it's not about people anymore, it's about a cause.
Right.
That's where my problem lies. Like, that's where I really have the issue. It's not the issue that it's a woman. Like,
I was thinking about that
this morning, and just because you brought that up, and I have to address it now because you brought it up. This morning, I was talking with my wife, and I was like, I hear all the time that men can't write women. Men can't write women characters. They can't write believable women characters. And I'm reading The Deed of Parksanarian. Have you read that?
Nope.
It's a Elizabeth Moon's, I guess, fantasy epic. I don't know. I have the same problem with The Deed of Parksanarian as I did with Naomi Novik's Her Majesty's Dragon, or His Majesty's Dragon, or whatever. In that the characters don't sound like guys. The guy character in Naomi Novik's Her Majesty's Dragon, or His Majesty's Dragon, or whatever, he's calling a male dragon deer. Guys don't call each other deer. That's a woman thing. That's not a guy
Well,
thing. And
some
I got
guys
no,
might.
I got no problem with a woman doing it, but that's not a guy, And
I
like
would say it's not a very masculine guy.
okay, yeah, all right. So we'll give it that, but he's supposed to be.
Oh.
And
Maybe there's a subtext there.
not that I have noticed. And I read the book, so
I have not, so I'm just
reading Deepak Sunarian. I've heard it pumped up by all kinds of people. Oh, you need to read this book and all that, and I'm reading it, and I don't really see anything special. It really feels like a female version of Robert Jordan's books, but the magic is exactly how you're not supposed to do it if you're writing fantasy. The story does not revolve in any way, shape, or form to the halfway point around magic. There's magic used once as a healing device to speed up some healing.
okay.
And there's mention of dwarves and elves, but they're all on the side. They're not facing them, they're not fighting them. They're basically standing around, so it could be real life people that look similar. And it's like Poxenarian is a person who runs away from an arranged marriage to join this duke's ranks, and she's joined, and it's basically a soldier outfit, but it's a more modern soldier outfit than what they're supposed to be in the time period. Like, they have way more modern concepts, like making your cot and all this other shit. There's no way in, the times of dragons and all that shit, they were worried about making their cot. You know what I mean? It's just not real. I mean, even in the 100 Years' War, they weren't like having drills to see if you could bounce a quarter off the mattress and stuff. That shit didn't start happening until World War I, probably. Probably. I don't know what I can't speak for what they were doing in like the Napoleonic Wars in England, but that's not recorded as far as American history anyway. So basically it's way, way more modern than what it's supposed to be. But one of the guys that's in her cohort, or whatever you want to call it, or whatever she calls it, because I've heard different names now. He sees some dead bodies, right? And then he starts tearing up. And I'm like, why the fuck are you going to tear up? I just don't buy it. Like, if you're in a place where you're having war so often that people hire mercenary armies, you're not going to be crying over some stranger's body. I don't know of anybody right now. There might be, but I don't know of anybody right now that would see a dead body who they didn't know and be driven to tears for it. The best I would see is emotionless, So for me, a male soldier in a war-torn environment, and this isn't the first time I've mentioned it, in a time period where people are killing people all the time and it's a common sight, they are not going to whine and cry over somebody dying. And, if they know them, that's a different personal level. If if it's my brother and I trained with him or something like that, you know what I mean?
Right.
Then I can see having a personal stake in it, a personal relationship in it. But I really can't buy it when you don't know them. You're just seeing some dead bodies on the side of the road in the middle of a war-torn country where you're seeing people all the time killing and raiding. No, it's not going to happen. It's not believable at all. Not believable at all. So that it just leads to what you're saying is like you're talking about the difference between men and women. Now, if Paxenarian saw a dead body and she was like, and she's a sheep farmer's daughter, so she might be unaccustomed to seeing dead bodies, right?
Right.
If she was affected and she teared up, which she does later on, but she tears up over people that she knew, then it would be a little bit different because women are generally more emotionally involved than men when it comes to that type of thing. But even in a war-torn environment, in places that you regularly see war like that, I don't even buy that a woman would be like that, because women died all the time in childbirth. It was a huge cause of death, really.
Yeah.
So if you're thinking about it, and in, say, for example, the 100 Years' War, while there is a war between France and England and several, I guess you would say, satellite kingdoms of Europe, there was also the plague. So how much death are you seeing, right?
Right.
Are you gonna, at that point in time, are you gonna get, all teary-eyed and sad because somebody died? Okay, if it's not a family member, if it's not somebody that you knew and trained with, you knew your whole life, you were dating or had a crush on or courting, or there are certain exceptions to the rule, but in for the most part, why would you be crying about it? Why would you be, unless you had some personal involvement? That stuff happened every day. It just takes away the verisimilitude, I guess. It just takes away the believability of the situation.
Right.
And these are the person that's writing this book is educated. I'm going to say, I'm pretty sure she's a professor, but I could be wrong. It's been a while since I read her bio. So there's no reason that she shouldn't know that information or have that common sense. But it's thinking with feelings instead of thinking with logic. And we all know where that is predominantly from. So that goes back to what you were talking about. And that's the reason that I thought of this, because I just was discussing something like that this morning, where I hear all the time that men can't write women characters because they don't write what women really think about, and then they're writing stuff like, "Oh, dear," from a guy, or guys crying over spotting random dead bodies. Like, there are a few guys that would probably cry over a deer, but probably not that many. And probably not that many in the Middle Ages or whatever, when you would probably be surviving off of that. And now that I've probably totally offended 1/3 of our 3-person audience,
I've always thought that was a stupid argument that guys can't write female characters, just because I'm like, okay, so you're saying throughout, most of literature that's been produced, there's never been any female characters that seemed real. That doesn't seem to track. And then,
Have you read Dracula?
yeah,
Okay. Well, no, it's just case in point. Because he was writing in the 1800s. And Dracula is touted for its literary qualities, right?
okay.
How many times does Nina go, we women? Like, women don't talk to women by saying, we women this. If she's writing a letter to, what's her name? Lucy. She's not writing a letter to Lucy starting it with, we women are so, sensitive over. No. That's like, as you know.
I just think that
Just saying, like he's saying, like they tout that as real good literature, and that is, it's case in point basically about what they're complaining about, and they're touting it as good literature.
Well, I still
The backwards shit that you see today.
the idea that I don't know, that there's some way that women think and some way that men think. I'm like, no, that's bullshit. Like, for one thing, that's just, in the end, you should know who your character is, and the character should talk like the character. And generally speaking, yeah, there are some things that, like, guys know damn well. You put a urinal between you if you can, Like, there are certain things that guys are going to do normally, and it's going to be weird if you don't do them. But
And women play battleships.
yeah, I mean, well, whatever. I'm just saying there are things that there's always an example of somebody who doesn't fit the mold, so that still works.
So-
You just have to make sure everyone else reacts accordingly. So if there's a guy that wants to call his male dragon deer, like, all you really have to do is have someone else think that's a little weird. And then all of a sudden it's like, yeah, this person understands. You know what I mean?
But so there is a difference in the way guys and girls think and relate to stuff. I think it's, we're not addressing the issue by saying there's exceptions to the rule. Addressing the issue would be saying that just because there's a difference in the way guys and girls naturally think, like, for instance, women are more apt to attach emotions to memory. That's why women mostly never forget anything and always know where something is, and they'll pull up arguments 17 years old per diem, because they have an emotion attached to it. Whereas guys try to look at things more logically than emotionally. And that's not to say that guys never look at things emotionally at all, but naturally we have more of a proclivity to look at it as a problem solver and not as a, like, another example is that a guy thinks of when he needs to go to earn to have something happen, and the woman thinks of what the room needs. Like, the guy's just thinking about making sure the bills are paid, and I'm not saying girls aren't thinking about making sure the bills are paid, but a guy's just thinking about what he needs to do to get his obligations done. And women find more obligations or find more things that need to be done within it, because they're more detailed, more feeling oriented, and we're more logically oriented. Like, this needs to be done for it to be accomplished, and that's that.
And all I was saying is, if you go outside the typical roles, then all you have to really do is have someone else go through and note that it's kind of weird.
Right. It's called
you know,
hanging a lantern on it.
I mean,
Anything
because
that,
people do go against the rule or the
right.
roles. They will, you know, there are effeminate men, there are masculine women. I get that. So, you know, some of these lines, like I said, like these are generalities, and you know, if you want to have verisimilitude, if someone's not going to fit into the generalities as we know, then you generally have to indicate that the author knows that this is going against
Right.
what
It's
is
called
normal.
hanging a lantern on it.
Okay.
And it doesn't matter if it's just that specific situation. Anything that goes against something, like if a character steps out of place and it's not the way a character would normally think for that character,
Yeah.
it's way more acceptable if you point that out as the author, like somebody else, another one of the characters saying that's weird, you know,
Yeah.
than just expecting the audience to accept it or expecting the reader to accept it. That's called hanging a lantern on it. It's shining a light on it. It's putting it, you know, in focus and saying, not only is this way, I know it's this way, and I want you to know it's this way.
Right.
Because there are valid reasons to do that. But yeah, what I was talking about, have you ever seen Mark Gungor's Tale of Two Brains?
I think so.
It's beautiful, dude. That thing is fucking beautiful. Mark Gungor's Tale of Two Brains explains the difference between men and women's thinking. And nothing is absolute. Nothing. So he's not talking absolutist. He's talking more general, but what he points out is exactly a lot of the problems between men and women when it comes to thinking like that, because women think one way and men think another way. And it's not that they can't come up with the same ideas or solutions, or they can't think outside of their normal box or whatever. It's that this is the things that they tend to go to. It's their comfort zone. They're, you know, like, men don't often talk about sad things with other men unless they think the man can help fix the problem.
Right.
Women talk about it with all the women that they can. They don't want you to help fix the problem. They want somebody to listen. So it's a different need. And it is kind of, you know, like, it's not 100% gender specific, but it is kind of gender specific because that's the normal way that the brain works for our different genders. Now, I'm not saying that it's not a conditioned thing. Like, over time, how much have women had to exercise power through controlling their men, right?
Right.
That doesn't invalidate the power that they had. It just shows you how much of a struggle they had extra to get that, right?
Right.
To me, that lends not credence, but strength, power to that power that they get. Whereas, like, when I'm reading historical fiction and it's supposed to be basically true to the time period, and they're just having women sling swords left and right, or you know, and they're they're saying women can do things as well as men. Well, nobody's saying that women can't do things as well as men, but in history, there were very few women that slung swords like that. Yeah, Joan of Arc did, but Joan of Arc was burned at the stake for it. I'm probably sure that didn't inspire a whole bunch of women to follow in her footsteps.
Mm-hmm.
And if all women did, then Joan of Arc wouldn't have been special, right?
Right.
So there is a difference, but what I'm saying is, like, you can hang a candle on saying people are different than their expectations of than other people's expectations of them are, but you can also say that just because I'm a man doesn't mean that I don't understand how a woman thinks.
Yeah.
And I think it's faulty to say that. Like, they did that with Robert E. Howard. They tried to make it out to sound like Robert E. Howard was misogynistic and all this other shit. Well, first of all, misogynistic doesn't mean that you think you're above women. It means that you hate women.
Right.
And he did not hate women. And if you read his work, Red Sonja is his creation. And before that, Dark Agnes was his creation. Those were pretty much the prototypes for fantasy women sword slingers. There were none before that. Like, really.
Right.
So, he knew how to write women. I mean, obviously, he also wrote heavy male fantasy version of women.
Right.
But he also wrote women as a respectful version too. It's just people didn't want to look at that because they saw the heavy male fantasy version. Like in Conan, women are not all just tavern prostitutes or whatever. And they made it out to sound like that they are, but they're not. Belit isn't. Red Sonja isn't. However, he enjoyed his women. Conan almost always got into whatever kind of adventure he got into over a promise to a woman. But for him, that was honor too. You don't break promises. Whether it's to a woman or a man, you don't break a promise. He spent most of his money on baubles for women, it says in the story. Does that make the women any less real? Because no woman, even nowadays, would just want guys to spend money on them. Right?
Well,
None of them are happy getting jewelry or gifts or flowers or diamond rings or cars or whatever. That's just a figment of Robert E. Howard's imagination. And you probably haven't watched it yet, but The Whole Wide World, where I was talking about the Robert E. Howard story with Renee Zellweger starring in it.
oh yeah.
It was written, it's Robert E. Howard's story with Renee Zellweger and Vincent D'Onofrio starring as Robert E. Howard.
Okay.
And it's based on the book called The Whole Wide World, which is written by Noveline Price, which was the only woman that ever really came close to marrying Howard.
Okay.
And she wrote it because they had really a rocky relationship, and she was in college when he killed himself. And it was a long, long time before she was able to process it. And her processing it was writing the whole wide world. And she lived long enough to see like an early version of it, an early cut.
Yeah.
And her memory left her before the movie was finished. Like she had Alzheimer's or something like that completely took her over. But if you read it, this is 1930s in Texas, and he is taking her under his wing to convince her not to give up on writing.
Yeah.
In the 30s. The only thing women were expected to write in the 30s were romances and stuff like that. And he wanted her to push for something more.
That's one of those things they never seem to understand. Like, it's rare. Okay, so like you say, women weren't expected to do anything more, but there had been female writers before.
No, I'm not saying that they weren't expected to do anything more, but like the popular writers of that time, Emily Bronte and Jane Austen, right?
Right, and
but what did they write?
Right, I'm not disputing any of that. What I'm saying is, it seems like a lot of people seem to forget that a lot of times guys are there to help support these people. Like when you look at, like, it's generally accepted that every successful guy has had some kind of influential woman on his life, but yet no one, when we start, these women were just, pioneers all by themselves. And it's like,
right, they existed in a vacuum. Mary Shelley wasn't married to Percy Shelley.
Right.
He didn't write in the same writing group as Lord Byron.
Yeah.
There was no outside influences that were men.
That's just, again, it's just one of those things where it's like, I fully accept and kind of expect any success story probably has a network of people, of men and women who have helped this person.
Absolutely.
And
that's
the idea that there's any group that, I don't know, is somehow pure or good or pure evil is ridiculous.
That's the problem with breaking it down to gender.
Yeah.
Because it has nothing to do with gender. It has to do with the person writing it, or the person imagining it, or the person painting it, or the person filming it, or singing it, or playing it on guitar. It has nothing to do with the gender. It has to do with the person.
Yeah.
So, that is the message here, right? It's like people are too focused on trying to say it has to be a certain. It's not fair if there's not many women mentioned historically writing or whatever, but yet there's a lot of women that kept records historically. It's like you were saying, there's a lot of women writers that they're still not credited today, especially when that happens, when they go, really, no women writers that are credited. And that's like saying Mary Shelley was the creator of science fiction, really?
Because she was not.
There was science fiction written in Greek times and published about trips to the moon and, fighting with aliens and everything else. Like, I'm not dissing her because she was brilliant and she had it tough, but she also had a support team of very talented individuals around her that were a support team, right?
Yeah.
Her husband didn't say, don't write. Matter of fact, he arranged the whole writing thing in Geneva where her and Lord Byron and him, and there's another guy. It's a doctor. I can't remember his name, but the actual first vampire story was written by Lord Byron and never finished. And this doctor, I can't remember his name, but I can look it up for you later on. But this doctor actually finished that story and published it. And it was like a novella or something like that. But it was the first instance of a Dracula type character. And that was before Dracula, like 20 years before or more than that. I actually want to say more than that. No, that was my water. We took a dive. How ironic that my water took a dive. So I think maybe I'm going to ink this next stream.
Okay.
Unless somebody comes up with something for me to draw. Nobody's coming up with any suggestions. Maybe I'll find a background too. I wanted to turn it upside down. Thought it would be cool to draw it and turn it upside down, but when I do that, he's too far to the left.
Yeah.
And when we do that, he's looking the wrong way. So it has to be this way. So just have to put some background in.
Yeah,
Challenge, right?
I guess.
So 2.5 hours. I don't know if anybody showed backup. That's the basic of Venom. Now I'll have something to claim it is next time. And I figured like I do. I guess maybe the next time I'll do, if somebody else can come up with an idea, or we can get some ideas thrown out there. I'll do a giveaway based on what people are picking, you know. Or, you know, you, like I said, if there's some idea that you want to see illustrated or whatever, Brett.
I'll talk to you. I'll talk to you after the stream.
Well, I mean, like, I want to have stuff on the stream. I want ideas bounced around on the stream.
Well, I'll still talk to you after the stream.
Well, yeah. Well, I'm saying on stream,
I get it.
not just to you. That I want ideas bounced around on stream so that everybody has kind of an, you know, saying, oh, that sounds like it's a cool idea, or I would like to see that, you know, that kind of thing. I think as much as I hate the idea of it, I'm going to have to give Venom a big ass time. Well, you know, really, Todd McFarlane didn't do that. McFarlane didn't give Venom a big ass tongue or big ass teeth, really. I mean, maybe he gave him a big ass tongue, but not like this kind of big ass tongue. The kind that you're seeing in comics all the time now, where it's basically web shooters with a tongue. I'm gonna have to check on Twitch and see if I have an information box, because on YouTube we have an information box,
Yeah.
and I put what I'm using for tools and stuff, what the music is, and where I got the music, or the permissions that I've got for the music. You've got everybody asking me what I want for Christmas. What do you want for Christmas?
had an idea the other day of what I wanted for Christmas, and I don't remember what it is. Like it was something that, in my theory, is like the best presents are things that you would like to have, but you won't purchase yourself. So Zara's back.
Hey, welcome back.
You know, it's the things you want, but you're also kind of too responsible to spend money on yourself, so you don't buy them. Those things make the best gifts. She said, sorry, it took forever.
I guess I'm. Well, like we're probably not going to be all that long before we're closing down for the night. And we'll be back Tuesday, because Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday at 8:15 Eastern Standard Time. What was I going to say? I'm in an age where presents for me, the things that I want, like I don't have a whole bunch of silly wants. I don't have a whole bunch of wants that I don't want toys. I don't want movies or most of that stuff. Really not me. I'm not just asking clothes, and so the things that I want are either way too expensive for a Christmas gift,
Yeah.
or it's I don't know what Bunnings is. Is Bunnings a store?
Yeah, I don't know what Bunnings is either.
It probably would be obvious if we were Aussie.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're either way too expensive, or it's stuff that I want to help me achieve what I'm trying to do goal-wise.
Yeah.
Like,
It's a home shopping place.
oh yeah, okay. So, if I wanted to, I want to get another set of neutral gray Copic markers.
Yeah, that really. I know the other day I had an idea of something that I thought, like, I have ideas for my children and my wife, but I never think about myself. Like, my birthday's on Wednesday.
Oh,
And
well, nice to know.
there you go. It's on Wednesday.
Well, I'll give you a happy birthday on stream.
Oh,
I promise I won't sing to you though.
thanks. And I look at some of that and I'm just like, yeah, I don't need presents per se. I mean, I don't know. I'm sure it had something to do with writing, I think. I just don't know what it was, and that's really annoying to me.
It's the memory, dude.
Yeah, I know. Thanks, Sarah. Yeah, I'm trying to think if it was something from my classroom. Oh, I just don't remember.
Now, my son asked me before stream, and what he's asking me is, what can I get you that's cheap? And really, that's what he's asking. And I'm like, he's like, do you need socks or anything? And I'm like, no, that's what Eli's gonna get me. Like, that's actually what Eli asked me first. He's like, socks? You want socks? And I'm
I would.
that's my present. That if nobody knows what to get me and they want to really get me something,
Yeah.
get me socks. Because I can always use socks.
My feeling is,
I told him markers, or why don't you get me a gift card to Audible, or something like that. If that's the cheapest way you can get out of it, Audible is like $30 for 3 points, and I can get 3 audiobooks, which are worth $150, right?
yeah.
And he's all like, "Do you want something cozy?" Or no, man. Like, I don't get that. Ask me what I want. When you really don't know what you want, what can I get you for cheap?
Yeah.
You wanted something for your classroom, you think?
I don't know. That's the thing. I can't think of anything that I need or want. But yet, that's what I'm like, oh, maybe.
I told my wife, who had more expendable income than Logan, that I'd like to get an iPad so I can get a Procreate, because I've got a tablet to do digital art, but it's so big and so cumbersome to set up and break down that I'd just like to have a smaller tablet. And Procreate, if I get an iPad, then I can pretty much do the same things that I've been wanting to do.
So, I have access to an iPad that has Procreate on it.
Oh, yeah, that's pretty cool.
I just don't know how to use it.
Well, yeah, I would have to learn how to use it too, but it's basically a digital paint program.
Well, I've never done digital artwork, but I'm kind of interested.
You can find in tutorials. It is fairly easy. You think about it, how many of your kids are doing that, I'm not talking about your physical children. I'm talking about
My students. Yeah, I know.
Yeah. They're probably doing that on their phones while they're waiting for class or whatever.
No, they're probably playing stupid games.
Well,
They
yeah,
almost all play stupid
that's
games.
another thing you can do with Procreate. You can do little silly ass cartoons, and that's one of the reasons I want to get Procreate. There's a sale right now that I purchased from Aaron Blaze. The new Procreate Dream.
Yeah.
And it is basically animation. Well, Aaron Blaze did Brother Bear.
Yeah.
So he was a Disney animator or a DreamWorks animator or whatever. And he does a lot of digital art and a lot of teaching of digital art. But for $6, he's got a complete course course that completely teaches you Procreate Dream. And it's a sale right now, so. But yeah, I mean, if you can get access to a Procreate, then you can, play around with artistic ideas that you've had that you haven't had the ability to get out there.
Yeah. Part of it's just finding time, but it's definitely something I should be trying.
The iPad is because you can carry an iPad around with you and pretty much find time pretty easily. It's, you could have it in your bag or your briefcase or whatever. Or in my case, we go everywhere in the car. I've got this little black bag. Let me see if I thought I had it right here. I'm sure I did somewhere. It's a black bag, so it's hiding on me with all the darkness around here. Yeah, right here.
Okay.
And in this black bag, I have a watercolor water container, just like this.
Yeah.
a water-soluble brown-colored pencil so I can draw in my watercolor notebook. My watercolors, my gouache, actually 2 sets of watercolors, my gouache, 2 different size watercolor sketchbooks, and 2 different palettes for travel. I can fit all that in this little bag. So, I mean, Procreate on an iPad, it's a 10-inch iPad. It's basically the size of a book. You can carry it around, and anytime you got an idea, you can doodle in it and save it, and it's an iPad. So, you know, there's way more to it than just the one application. But you can, when you learn that program, you'll be able to draw something, and then if you don't like it, you can clip out a part of it and enlarge it, flip it over. There's so many things that you can do digitally. Like, I don't like getting out of the idea of using my hands
Yeah.
and using traditional tools and stuff, but I love the idea of having that application where I could maybe do a drawing like this and then scan it on and send it over, and then color it and paint it and color it in 3D or animate it, or, you know, the options are, with that many options, I wouldn't want to give them up. I did I did some digital cover work. I did some for Mark. Did I do one for you? Did I do a digital cover for you?
No.
I wasn't sure. Like,
I have one of your covers. So, but that wasn't for me. But the Gears, Gadget, and Steam book, I bought the painting.
you did.
Yes.
Okay. You bought it from me, right?
Yes, I bought it from you.
I don't remember it. Oh yeah, you know, I remember you talking about it actually, but I don't. Brain. Yep, I get it. You go through a couple of iterations before I'm happy with it, but trying to figure out the lighting. All right, so yeah, I'm gonna call it. 2 people at least have already left. Anyone that's watching on YouTube, like and subscribe and let us know you like the content, and we appreciate likes and follows on any of the platforms. Feel free to talk. Feel free to come in and make suggestions, and thanks for being a part of it. Good night. God bless. Much love.
See you.